So we saw it now. So.
Okay.
All right, welcome back to Rolling Tall to the Spanish Radio Show live here. Our second guest here is here now, Miss Sabrina Taylor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm trying to hang in there. You know, we had a rough week and rough 5 months, but this week has been really a lot of for the mind, the mental, and just the spiritual test in the terms of just trying to hang together, trying to keep yourself together.
Yeah.
So as you know, a lot happened this week with Sunday with the shooting of Jacob Blake, in terms of him leaving paralyzed from the waist down, being shot in front of his kids, and the outrage in Kenosha, Wisconsin, then the lack of. Then we had the boycott by the NBA, other sports, and then we had the shocking passing of Trevor Bozeman last night. So, what are your thoughts about what's been going on this past week? Because I know 5 months been a lot, but this whole week alone, what's your thoughts about it?
Yeah, it's just so much. It's like you said, it's been a lot going on the last few months, but just within 1 week, when we look at how much stuff can happen at one time, it's just like overwhelming. So, with regards to that killing, again, yet another killing, it's just sad. It's almost like, I'm starting to feel like all the work that's being done is not really being heard. It's not, they're not really hearing us. They're not really taking us serious. And for everybody to be marching and, speaking to their politicians and taking so many stands, and then the same thing just keep happening. Mm. It's like, when is the point ever going to really get across? And, it's just a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So just in terms of an emotional standpoint, and then I actually went away from it. I went away to that city just to get away from it. Just even though it was still in my mind, but then you come home and then you get home and you prepare for the show, for today's show, and then you see Chadwick Boseman. I'm like, no, that's a joke, right? That can't be a joke. And then it's like, wow, he died with colon cancer.
Yeah.
He did 10 movies while he had cancer.
Exactly.
I'm saying we can play so much stuff. A little thing, we can't do this, but this man did 10 movies, but pretty much no one knew about it except a couple of people, his family probably knew, but
yeah,
even though it was something to take went inside, he still did 10 movies. Yeah. Everybody thought that song, he was really skinny, but maybe they was thinking do a movie role. Okay, after everybody does that, but he didn't know he was doing stage 4. I'm like, wow. And then it's he was so young too, and then it's like he get that movie inspired a lot of people that we didn't see in Black Superhero before, and made it really cool. And then he did other movies like Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall, James Brown, Ernie Davis. Then the last one, then one he did last year. 21 Bridges was really what his best works. For me. And then the movie did Spike Lee. I think that's why I didn't see that one yet, but it was a shock. I'm like, wow, there's a whole lot to take in. Just sometimes you got you never know what someone's dealing with. You never know. You never know. What that man what he was dealing with, and that commits his work, his commitment. I saw the video he spoke at the graduation at Howard. He had cancer. No one could tell he had it. He talking about he spoke about purpose and about living like your purpose. He died on 8/28. Janelle said 8/28. He gave us a reminder that one was 8/28 about going for your purpose, and then on the same day you had the March on Washington. Yeah. Then the same day Emmett Till was murdered. There's a lot going on. It's so there's a lot going on.
But you know what? I just feel like it was just another thing that speaks volumes into his legacy that he's already established. No one knew, no one in the general public knew that he was battling with colon cancer for all these years. Yet and still, he continued to work, and his works were definitely not in vain. He changed the whole world, I would say, the black community in terms of how he how the Black Panther movie came.
Right.
And we don't really see a lot of black superheroes and a lot of black power in that sense. We don't get to see that. And so that movie just really took off and it changed a lot. Let the children see that there are black superheroes, and then there were so many messages within that movie. And like you said, all the other movies that you named, like he left his mark. And then now that we find out in his last 4 years, he still continued to work and press on, even though he was dealing with this issue. And that is nothing, not a minor issue. It's not a cold. It's not the flu. It's not something that, you know, we deal with often. He had colon cancer, something that was eating away at his insides, and he continued to push on. So, you know, that's just definitely encouragement and inspiration for all of us.
Yeah, and that's the true testament to his grit and perseverance, you know.
Exactly.
And like, you know, he said the same about living their life to the fullest. In the midst of the pain you're going through, you still have a responsibility to do movies to help us be more aware, more conscious of who we are, be more proud of who we are. You know, have movies like look like us. You know, and just that's the fact he did that alone was like so true grit and true touch of his character, his worth. You know, but it's definitely something that we had to learn from and honor him to think about grit and perseverance, and that this man had cancer, and we compared so many little things, and now like, you know, now it's like more than ever. And I took a picture a couple years ago. My speakers had the kids from my school did Wakanda pose, and it was about 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago, and it was my profile picture for my business for a while.
Okay.
I took it down once it's up, but now I might put it back up because that picture so many values now, made so much in terms of like what we had to do as a people, just come together, you know.
Yeah, and that's the hard part.
Yeah,
that's the hard part. And you know, we talk about it so much that we need to come together and we need unity and everything like that. But the unfortunate part is that it's easier said than done. You can have a lot of people standing together for one specific reason and purpose, and everybody's touching and agreeing, you know, on the same thing. But then you still divided because you have people over here that just don't care. You know, they're just doing their own thing. They're just, you know, every man for themselves, or it's just me and mine. They're not out here trying to make the change, and that's the thing. We have to be a united front in order for it to work.
Exactly. You're exactly right. And we gotta be united all fronts. You can't say you love someone and then talk them out their back. You can't do that. You can't say we're this together and then shoot up someone. like it doesn't make sense. So I want to ask you, who is Sabrina Taylor?
Who is that girl? Who is she? So Sabrina Taylor, she has, she's like ever evolving. You know, she's not the same, and you know, it's interesting because a friend of mine and I, every other week we're doing this thing we do on Wednesdays, which is like a live, and we have discussions and talk about different things, different topics, and the topic that's on my heart to talk about the next time we go on is change, because change is so controversial. Like I have conversations with people and they're like, I am who I am, I'm never going to change. This is who I am, I'm never going to change. And it's just like, life is about change. If you don't change, then you're stuck and you're bound to the same old things. And I don't want to be that way. Like, I like to grow, I like to learn. And so Sabrina Taylor is always evolving. I'm always looking to better myself. I want to be better than I was yesterday, inside and out. And, you know, currently I'm just like all in on my book series. So she's a new author as of November 2019 when my first book came out. So that's just another part of who I am.
Wow, okay. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, in this life, you have to constantly evolve because life changes. You can't be the same person 5 years ago or 2 years or yesterday. You constantly evolve and grow because someone out there needs your gift and your story, because we was born to share our gifts. Yes. And we had to share with people that we had to change with the times, you know, to evolve. Even though it was maybe uncomfortable first, but in the meanwhile, long run, we worked out for the best. Yeah. So, what was your upbringing like growing up?
So, I grew up in a two-parent household until I was about 10. So, I had the two-parent household. I had 2 older brothers, who are approximately 2 years apart from each other. And then there was me. And then 4 years after me came my 2 younger sisters, and they're twins, so they're the same age. So I always felt that I was the middle child because my 2 older brothers are very close in age, and they were always treated as twins. What one did, the other did. They, you know, if one got it, the other got it. If one went, the other went. And then I was the girl that came after them. And then I was treated like a girl. Like I couldn't go far. I had to, you know, I had a lot of restrictions, a lot of limitations. And then my sisters came, and they're twins. They're the babies, but you know, they're the second set of girls that came along, so things were a little different for them. I just always took it that I was the middle child, and I had the middle child syndrome. I liked to write as a kid. I liked 1,000 things like that, but I never really. I don't feel like I got enough exposure to a lot of things as a child because I was, like I said, I was a girl. I had my older brothers, and it was like, this is for girls and that's for boys. My brothers were very athletic, and I never got into sports because I was a girl, you know. But it was weird because my sisters came along, and they're very athletic. They both are great basketball players and everything like that. So, you know, one thing that I'm very intentional about now is just trying to encourage kids to just be who they are. Like if you like something, if you enjoy partaking in a certain activity, learn about it and partake in that activity. You know, don't feel like, oh, that's for boys, that's for girls. Oh man, I wish I could think of that young lady's name who was on the football team for her high school. She was like the first girl to become a part of the football team, and she had this amazing running speed. She was just very skilled at football, and a lot of people were against her being on the boys football team. And she was like, no, I want to play. Like, I want to play with the players. I don't want you to try to create a girls team. I don't want you to try to put me with the lighter weight players. I want to play with the players. And she proved herself to be a great football player. So, you know, I'm very thoughtful about that. Like, I don't think we should put restrictions or limitations on kids. If they enjoy doing certain things, let them do it. Right. Maybe the girl likes to play basketball. Maybe the boy likes to dance. Maybe, you know, we got to stop doing that because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You know, if they're good at it, they're good at it. Right,
we shouldn't put kids in a box, you know, because we was born to be outside the box, not to fit in the box, because it wouldn't make sense because we're not really born that way. You're supposed to be yourself, enjoy what you love that you found happiness with. You know what I mean? That should give you joy. So, in the midst of at the same time, as you was growing, you became an educator, and now you're an author. So, what made you decide to become an educator and then now an author?
So the way that I fell into education was like one of those things that you didn't know was going to lead you to like a path of greatness. You didn't know that it was really a part of the plan. You just thought you were doing it because you were just doing it. I always enjoyed kids. I always liked working with children. My grandmother had a family daycare. My mother had a family daycare. When I was in high school, I participated in the Family and Child Development Program, where my peers would have their siblings come in and we would like conduct an education program for these kids, lesson plans, curriculum, everything. After high school, I got a job at a child care center in my neighborhood.
Okay.
And that's kind of how it got started. I started there, and then I started working at another child care in my neighborhood. I was there for 9 years, but during the 9 years I was there, almost 9, not quite 9, maybe about 8.5. During the time that I was there, I completed my associate's degree and bachelor's degree in early child education. I traveled abroad 2 times, and it was just like I didn't know that me working here was going to lead me, you know, to obtaining my master's degree later on, and working in a role that I'm working in now, writing children's books. I didn't know. I just thought that I liked working with kids. I knew that. I knew it was enjoyable, but I didn't know that it was a part of like my plan to be in it for as long as I was. Yeah. And then in terms of children's book, because I was a teacher, there was just so many experiences that I had with kids, conversations conversations we had, a lot of people think that children are kids. They're just kids. They don't know what they're talking about. Some people don't take the time to listen, but kids are really smart, and they know things, and they retain things. As they say, their brains are like sponges. They know stuff. And so when you really have a conversation with kids, it's just like, wow, this kid really knows what they're talking about. So a lot of experiences so far with this book. The first series that I wrote called You Can Be, it's about encounters with various students that I had throughout my time teaching. Learning about how to take time and listen and talk and give feedback, and that's how I got started with the book. Just taking conversations and experiences that I had in the classroom and putting them on paper, because there was purpose behind it, messages behind it, and I feel like I need the world to know. I need educators to know. I need parents to know. Anybody who work with children or have their own children need to hear the message.
So you're still teaching, right? Correct.
I am not teaching, but I supervise teachers. I'm still in the education field. My role is called Education and Disabilities Coordinator. So I supervise a group of 14 teachers. I oversee 6 classrooms currently, and children that are in our program with special needs and they have an IFSP, I make sure that they're getting the services that they need. So I'm still in the field. I'm just not teaching kids right now.
So, is your field, in terms of what you're doing now, have they went all virtual, or there's some plan to, if they have went virtual, what has been the process of like doing that? You say we're such a need, so it's like, has that experience been like doing the transition to virtual?
So we've been virtual since March.
Okay.
And March 13th was our last day, effective March 16th, Monday. We started out by just checking in with the families weekly. You have to contact every family at least once a week, just to check in, see if they need anything, because at that time we thought we were only out for 2 weeks.
Right.
So the goal was just to keep in contact and make sure they're okay. Whatever needs they had, we were providing them. Like the way our program is, we provide everything. The children come into the center, but we provide 2 meals, a snack, blankets, sheets, formula, baby food, everything aside from like breast milk. Infants who are being breastfed, like obviously we don't provide that, but we provide everything else: diapers, wipes, pull-ups. If the families need wipes and things at home, we provide wipes and diapers. We provide clothing. We have these resources to where if our families are in need, we provide them their need. So throughout the time that we first were out, we just made sure their needs were being met. During the weekly check-ins, the teachers would read and talk to the children to make sure they were still getting that interaction. And then starting around June, when we realized that we were still out and we were still going to be out, we were going to be out until September 30th. So at that point, we started to go into more of an in-depth curriculum, implementing our curriculum, informing lesson plans. This is the structure of our meetings. It's not just going to be checking in. It's not going to just be reading a book. We're going to start working on individualized goals.
Right.
So whatever the goal is that the child is currently working towards, we're going to make sure we do lessons virtually. We started doing Zoom, Microsoft Teams. We provided Chromebooks and Surfaces to all the families, so that now they have a connection to be able to access the video chats. And so that's what we've been doing from June up until now. And we know that we're going to be out not until September 30th anymore, but now we're out until approximately January 4th. So, but we're still working, and we're still, we're remote, but we are working at this point to the fullest extent, aside from being in the classroom. The virtual learning has become more extensive, where they're doing more activities, like I said, aside from just reading. They're doing art, they're doing science, they're doing music and movement. They're implementing all of that stuff. And then in terms of our children who may have IFSPs, We're making sure that their therapists and things are still providing their services. They're getting the individualized attention they need from their therapists. And then, in addition, because we always keep a copy of the IFSP to see what goals they're working towards,
Right.
we take from the goals and create our own activities for them to work on, and we reinforce that same thing.
Yeah, it sounds like y'all having a very detailed plan what y'all doing with the kids in the midst of the virtual program. I think that's very commendable because, like, in the kids, I was in a situation too. Our last is September, March 13th, and we were shut down. We couldn't do any program until like May because we had to find get guidance from the school district about what we should be doing, how long hours offering like that. It was rough because the kids were in school and they were like all day long. They go after school. That's like it's hard to get them on there for 1 hour, you know.
Yeah.
So, but the summertime, we did some really amazing work. We had over 100 kids that participated in the program. That was all over Philadelphia. So, because that was a blessing because we couldn't like. This is Portia. Portia. I know you're Portia Holland. Portia.
Which I'm trying to think of where would I? That's her name? Portia Holland?
Yeah.
Okay.
Portia M. Holland.
I don't know.
I think y'all know each other. I think y'all know each other. I mean,
Was she at the Arthur's Cafe?
no.
Oh, okay.
No. She just said she was pretty. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Portia. I wasn't looking. I don't have. I turned it off.
Yeah.
So I can't see the comments on there.
Yeah.
But thank you, love.
Yeah.
I have to see who she is.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but also you also did 2 Artists Cafe this year. The
Yes.
one, the 23rd one, and then the 25th one. So what were your experiences with those cafes? There were 2 different experiences.
Oh, yeah.
But they were great, but 2 different
Yeah.
experiences. Yeah.
They both were awesome experiences.
Yeah.
So the first one was my very first one. I was still, even though, like I said, I'm a new author, so I'm still getting my feet wet, but that was one of my first experiences speaking in front of another group of authors about the book. So it was a great opportunity for me, good experience to have. I did meet other authors who I was able to connect with and learn a little bit more. Kind of, you know, when we first get there, the authors all set up like their own little stations.
Yeah.
Like we're provided with tables where we can set up our books and any items pertaining to our being an author.
Right.
So I love that I was able to go to the different tables and see what other authors had and what other authors do because I'm new, and so I dressed my table up, but I like to get ideas and learn from other people about why they do what they do, and if it would benefit me for me to try to do the same thing or something similar. So that's always great. It's always great to hear other people's why.
Mm-hmm.
So it's inspirational. And then, so that was my first one. The second one was a little more, I don't know how, maybe intimate. It was more intimate because we were social distancing.
Yeah.
And we couldn't have too many outside guests.
Right. Yeah.
So primarily it was the authors. It was just the authors in the room in Levine. And my mom. My mom came along to support me, so we were the only people in the building. And then on Zoom, we had 2 other authors who were a part of the cafe, but they were doing it virtually.
Right.
And even though there weren't other people there and guests and things like that to be there, it was still a great experience because it was, like I said, it was more intimate, and I think that allowed for a different kind of energy to be in the midst of us, and we were able to connect on a deeper level, if I could say that. So all the authors were women, and just to hear everybody's story and how, in a way, all of our purposes kind of connected. And that was just deep. It was just deep. The whole energy was just like, it was much different than the first one. And so, they both had they both were very good experiences, but very different experiences.
Right, because sometimes the experience is about like God putting people together for a reason.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was like the first one was I was like the first right before the pandemic, right? The first one came, it was like a nice day outside, right?
It was bright and sunny.
Yeah, right. Week before it came, the week before like the pandemic came, it was like okay, and then the second one in the midst of it, and your ladies were so patient because I was like, oh no, y'all so weird to come to the camera. I was like, okay, all right, so but y'all, it was something that I never could expected, but it was great,
Yeah.
Again, things God does things for a reason. Some things, each theme had different story to it, a story behind it in terms of people's experiences and what they were. Because in the day, we want you to feel safe, we want you to feel welcome, to feel like, okay, wow, you know her, because I purposely did not. I got a flyer, but I didn't make y'all together because y'all have things in common. Like, wow, because that was a wonderful experience. I can't thank you so much for being part of that.
Oh no, it's definitely, the pleasure was mine, and I thank you, like I said, at the Authors Cafe for providing that type of space for authors, because it's not all the time that we have that experience.
Right.
It's not just something that you can easily just go to something often where you can share your art and your messages with the world. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, and plus you promote literacy too. So
yeah, exactly.
One of my big goals, is actually have an Authors Cafe within a building where people got big black-owned books in the cafe of them that choose their kids, their parents, like that. So we had a bit of time left. Where people can you tell us about your books and where people can find the books at?
Okay, so this is my first book. It came out in November of 2019. You Can Be is the name of the series. Exploring the Possibilities is the name of the first book. This book is available currently on Amazon. Amazon.com. You can go on there and type in either the title or my name, Sabrina Taylor, and you can pull it up and order it on Amazon. Also, if you're in Philadelphia or in the local surrounding counties, I'm available to do local deliveries. I live in Abington, Montgomery County, but I'm always in, Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. So if you're interested in your local, let me know and I can deliver myself. Alana the Dancer is the second part of the You Can Be series. Mm-hmm. Alana the Dancer, Alana was also a character in the first book. And so the second book is all about Alana and how she starts her journey.
Okay.
So Alana the Dancer can be found. It's available on Amazon. It's available on Walmart, Target, and Barnes and Noble. Mm. Yeah, she stepped it up a notch. I see. She moved on up since the first one.
It's everywhere now.
It's about learning. It's about learning. Right. The process of becoming the author was challenging because I didn't know what I was doing. Right. I didn't have anybody who I could really ask how do I do it. So I kind of I had to learn and figure it out. I watched YouTube. I joined groups. I just learned on the rip. I just figured things out as I went because I wrote this book in 2013. And I didn't know what to do, so I put it down. And I picked it up little by little, trying to figure things out. But I got discouraged. I put it back down. And finally, I was like, you know what? This has to happen, and it has to happen soon. Right. So I just had to figure it out. And so by the next time, I learned more, and I was able to take it a step further. So again, available on Amazon as well. Both available on Amazon, but in addition, Walmart, Target, Barnes and Noble, and I will be launching a coloring book by the end of this month, next week. Okay. Well, next week, I guess it'll be September. But by next week, the first week of September, the coloring book will be available. And by the fall, the third book in the children's book series will be about Michael, the chef. Okay. And so it's going to focus on Michael. And that'll be mid-fall. The fourth book will focus on Alejandro and how his journey to becoming an architect happens. And those are the first 4 original books of the series. Okay. Since the first 4 were written, I've established 3 more. So I think this series is going to have 7 parts, plus the coloring book, and then that might conclude the series. But it's going to be community helpers to talk about the people in the community who work to help our community and how you can be, a community worker. Baby, you can be too, because my 9-to-5 job, we focus on infants and toddlers and providing services to prenatal women. And so I did a baby, you can be too, and start, it will focus on how even when babies are little, you start to speak life into them. And you don't wait until they're grown to start showing them the possibilities. You speak life into them as a child and let them know how important they are, how special they are, they're unique, and you expose them to different things. And then the last one, as of now, is about sports. So it talks about the different sports and how if you're athletic, you can be an athlete. So.
Yes. Wow. You got a lot going on. This is great work. And those books are pretty much needed right now because in terms of, going back to school, speaking of messages to our kids now, especially in the midst of these pandemics going on. I think my job has I'm in a school program. So once we get started, I would love to do a virtual meeting with my kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so because they need that. They need that inspiration, that hope and guidance. In terms of you can do anything you want.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? It's midst of this. You don't have to be what people tell you to be. You be where you want to be and do it unapologetically.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. So. Again, Sabrina, thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thank you.
I know you've been a great supporter of the Greatest Artist Cafe series and what we've been doing and what we're trying to accomplish because we want literacy, promote safe terms, learning and growing. You know what I mean? I want our people to grow and thrive and not be complacent. That's what.
Yeah.
So. Because I want to thank people who are watching on air. My mentee, Aisha's on here, Miss Capers, Victoria Best, Portia was on here, Purple Lay was on here.
That's my sister.
Oh, okay, I know. Okay.
She came to the first Authors Cafe.
Okay, wonderful. Ashley's one of my mentees, so she's a senior. She had my event right now. So
Nice. Okay.
I think Miss Shay Rose on here, Shay's Joy's on here, Shay Bobo. I don't even know her. She's a teacher.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so she works with infantile too.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
she can connect with her too.
Yeah.
Your books will be good for her class as well.
Nice.
But Sabrina, thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for just joining us. I know it's a little past 2:00. And plus also at the same time going on at our Recording Cafe right now is Grab and Go for school year. So if you're a parent or if you have a young one going to school this week or start school already, come get a free grab bag from my team. We have food in there. We have resources in there for you between 2 and 4 at Recording Cafe. Meet my team. I will be there in a few minutes. So enjoy your rest of the day. And also, please stay prayerful, stay woke. Stay woke what's going on. Be part of the problem. Speak up when something you see is wrong and say something about it. And because in the day we got reflect on what's been going on and know that you can do anything. Do not be complacent. You can just be who you are and not worry about people think. Have a good Saturday, everyone. And Lord willing, I'll see you back on next Saturday for the Woman Strong to Experience radio show.